December 30 of 2022, the Saudi Arabian club Al Nassr signed Cristiano Ronaldo from Manchester United. The deal, the biggest of its kind in sports history, included an astonishing salary of $210 million per year for Ronaldo. Despite the financial lure of the move, the transfer of Ronaldo, one of the greatest players of all time, from the prestigious English Premier League to the Saudi Pro League, which is ranked 58th in league quality, took many sports journalists by surprise. I mean, Saudi Arabia loves its football, but not at that price. But, to many economists and financial experts who were carefully observing Saudi Arabian firms and their recent interferences in international markets, this hardly came as a surprise. Why is that? Let's find out. Economic diversification is generally defined as the process of reducing a country's overdependence on a narrow economic base and expanding the economic activities to other sectors. This is very similar to the financial strategy at the micro level, where individuals are advised to diversify their portfolio to include multiple investment profiles such as real estate, equities, savings accounts, and ETFs. A country-level example would be an oil-dependent nation, like most of the Middle Eastern countries, reducing their dependence on oil and expanding their range of industries such as tourism, sports, agriculture, transportation, mining, space, and other sectors. Why is economic diversification needed? One of the reasons is the need to protect a country's economy from external shocks such as natural disasters, armed conflicts, foreign invasions, and other macroeconomic challenges. One such major challenge, which increased in significance over the last 2 decades, is climate change. While the potential negative impacts of climate change on the global economy were up for debate for some time, that is no longer the case. The only question is, how do we mitigate these impacts? The emotional and boisterous swing of the climate activists call for more extreme measures, such as banning fossil fuels altogether. But not only is this unrealistic, if implemented, this could potentially cripple the economic growth in most countries and can affect the livelihood of millions of poor people. The more pragmatic and sensible approach is to ensure a gradual transition to cleaner energy, powered by technology and innovation. This means moving away from traditional fossil fuels, the supply of which forms the mainstay of many Middle Eastern economies. How do one achieve this? Among other things, over the last 2 decades, sports and entertainment are being used as vehicles of economic diversification in the Middle East. Especially, sports. Sports gathers international attention, attracts tourism, and gives out signals, though sometimes false, of a more inclusive society. For example, the economic diversification of Dubai was accelerated by its efforts to host several high-profile sporting events, such as the Dubai Horse Racing World Cup, Dubai Tennis Championships, and Dubai Marathon. The country also invested in world-class sports facilities and infrastructure, such as the Dubai Sports City and Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, which houses the Yas Marina circuit for Formula One racing. Similarly, Qatar has also invested in various sports franchises and events, such as the Paris Saint-Germain Football Club and the Aspire Academy, a sports training institution. More recently, the most famous, or rather infamous of them all, the country successfully hosted the 2022 FIFA World Cup, which has led to significant infrastructure development and investment in sports infrastructure. Also notable is the Tour of Oman cycling race, Oman Open Golf Tournament, the Bahrain National Stadium, and the Bahrain International Karting Circuit, all of which part of the efforts to promote sports-related tourism. While its neighbors were actively involved in development of sports-related infrastructure, the largest country in the Middle East was lurking from the shadows, but soon expected to follow suit: Saudi Arabia. And their story is expected to be the grandest of them all. Now, let's go back to the Cristiano Ronaldo story. His signing was not a one-off event. Several other prominent players from Europe's top leagues soon followed Ronaldo's suit, including Karim Benzema, N'Golo Kanté, Roberto Firmino, Ruben Navas, and Steven Gerrard. The aggressive capture of some of the world's biggest football stars is just another step towards Saudi Arabia's dream project, Vision 2030, a reform plan intended to diversify its economy. The newly found costly football romance follows other notable efforts, such as opening of movie theaters, partnerships with World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, to hold annual pay-per-view events in Saudi Arabia, hosting F1 and MotoGP events, and plans to host the 2030 Football World Cup. These efforts are spearheaded by the Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, named PIF, which is a $600 billion endowed fund aimed at expanding Saudi's sports interests globally to football, tennis, golf, and many other sports. Saudi's Ministry of Sport and Ministry of Tourism have set an ambitious target for sports to contribute 0.6% of GDP by 2030, up from the current 0.2%, a 300% increase, with the purpose of boosting international tourism numbers. Will these initiatives be successful in achieving the diversification goals? Nobody knows the answers for sure, but history provides us some hints. While countries like UAE are examples of success stories, their rise cannot be fully attributed to sports investments. The country underwent a major cultural reset, which included many inclusive and liberal policies to welcome the diverse global population. Saudi Arabia is yet to make significant strides in that regard. In addition, hosting major international sporting events are notorious for their poor return on investment. For example, although Qatar's economy grew by around 3% in 2022 and 2023, thanks to the World Cup boost, it is projected to slow down to 1.7% by 2024. Similarly, during the 2016 Olympics, Rio de Janeiro invested heavily in modernizing its infrastructure and planned to stage local and national events to maintain venues once the games concluded. To date, however, several venues have reportedly fallen apart, and the alleged long-term benefits of hosting the games have not materialized yet. So, what will be the Saudi Arabian diversification story be like? When Ronaldo inevitably hang up his boots in a few years, will the intended objectives be achieved? For football fans in Saudi Arabia, at the very minimum, they got to see one of the greatest players of all time live in flesh. For others, we will have to wait and see.